Hello and welcome to another Pyramind Ableton Live tutorial. My name is Zaak. I'm one of the Ableton Live instructors here at Pyramind. And today I want to talk a little bit about kick drum synthesis. People have been asking me a lot about this recently. Everybody is really into the idea of using an 808, a big fat 808 kick drum in their song. And a lot of people are just using generic sample library 808s. You don't have to do this. You can come up with your own 808 kick drum from scratch, using almost any synthesizer you want. Today, I'm going to show you how to do it in Operator, but literally almost any synthesizer out there, you can make your own drum sounds from scratch. So I'm going to grab my default Operator preset and let's take a look at it. The first thing I'm going to do is go over here to my global section, and I'm going to change my routing so that all my oscillators are now parallel from one another. And that way they won't be affecting each other anymore. So this last setting right here is what I want. And anytime you're going to be synthesizing a sound, especially drum sounds, it helps to think of your sound in different parts. For example, with a kick drum, there you have your initial impact of your mallet hitting your kick drum, and then you have your boomy, subby, bassy, resonant part that's your actual drum resonating. So we're going to be using a different oscillator for each one of those parts. So I'm going to start with oscillator A here. This is going to be the initial impact of my mallet hitting my kick drum. So if I were to just hit a MIDI note, it's just going to play a sine wave based on the volume envelope I have set here and the tuning I have set here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this fixed frequency button. This is going to make it so no matter what MIDI note I hit, this is always going to be the same frequency. Then from there, I want to make sure I'm using a sine wave. The default is a sine wave. After that, I'm going to head over to my volume envelope. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my sustain all the way down. And then I'm going to start moving my decay back and forth here until I get the right amount so it sounds like a nice impactful hit. So it's very long. It's going to sound like this. And as I start turning it down, I start losing that decay. And there's a nice happy zone in here somewhere I found around between 50 and 100 milliseconds. Let me turn it up a little bit. Where I'm just getting that impact and not a lot of tone from the sine wave there. And from here, I can start adjusting my frequency to get it to fit just the way I want. I found somewhere between 100 and 120 hertz, depending on what you're going for. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around like 110 or so for right now. And we'll be coming back to that to dial it in a little bit more later on. From here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off that oscillator. And I'm going to go to my oscillator B, and I'm going to do a very similar process. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up my volume so I can hear it. And then I'm going to set it to fixed frequency once again. I'm going to turn down my sustain. And this time I'm going to give it a bit more of a decay. And the big difference here is when you think about your subby, bassy, resonant sound, it's going to be much lower than the initial impact sound. So I'm going to go to my frequency, turn that down somewhere between 45 and 60 hertz, give or take a little bit. It's kind of up to you where you want to take it. I'm going to put it at something like about 55. And from here, I'm going to start adjusting my decay so I get a bit more decay. And maybe I'll give it a tiny bit of attack. Something like that. Now, when I combine the two by turning my oscillator A back on, that's the basis of my kick drum. I have my initial impact here, and I can go in and start playing around with my settings. So I get the right amount of decay, the right frequency, and the right volume. And then my oscillator B, being that nice boomy impact, turn them both on. And there I have the start of a kick drum. And this is kind of the basis of it. From here, you can start to get more creative with it, start to play around with different ideas. The pitch envelope is a great place to go. I like to turn this on and add a little bit of pitch envelope. That'll add some more impact to your punch there. Although you don't want to do too much. Keep it nice and subtle. And that's pretty much all you need to do. From there, you're good to go. You can start playing around with adding in extra oscillators if you want to. You can go to your audio effects, maybe add in some effects. I might add something like maybe a saturator. And you're done. And from here, obviously, you want to rename this something you're going to remember, and then save it into your user library. So then you can have access to it whenever you want, and just click and drag it in, and there you go. You have your kick drum. You can tune it. You can play around with it just a little bit so it fits in exactly with your song. And it's your own. You made it yourself. It doesn't sound like anybody else's kick drum. It's all you. You can also, I want to make sure you guys are aware of this, you can, if I make a new MIDI track and load in an empty drum rack, I can drag this operator into one of the spots on my drum rack and now have that within my drum rack. So normally people think you can only have samples in a drum rack, but you can put synthesizers, you can put whatever you want in there. We're going to make this kick drum preset available for download for you. So if you want to play around with it and use it as a basis for building your own, go for it. So there you have it. That's how you synthesize a kick drum with operator. Keep in mind that there are a million different ways to synthesize a kick drum, and this is just the way I like to start doing it. And if you are experimenting and find your own way, great, that's awesome, go with it. It's all about finding the sounds that resonate with you and utilizing them and creating music that speaks to you.
Very much like to thank Pyramind for hosting me here once again. I think this institution is really cool, and until I came here for the first time, I had never seen anything like it in my whole life.
What I think really separates us from other people who teach is that we are outrageously passionate about what we do, and especially in electronic music.
Since coming to Pyramind, I've discovered electronic music, and San Francisco being a mecca for underground electronic music opened up so many doors for me and kind of blew my mind.
We cover everything from absinthe to contact. When people get to the mind-melting level, we get into modular synthesis.
Everything about native instruments, everything about Logic synths down to the finest detail. We learned it all.
The fundamentals of understanding how things work, that's just essential. But then beyond that, there's so much more, and that's where it gets into just a lot of the artistic side of like the creative approach of why you do something, not just how.
There's a lot of schools that just, they focus on the technicality of recording music, but I wanted something that would foster creativity and really help me develop as an artist as well.
Each of our genre-specific programs comes in 4 levels. There's a basic, an advanced, a professional, and then a master's level. And the master's level is, of course, everything we do. It's the largest and most powerful programs that we can create for you.